I've been away and I needed time to rebuild my nervous system after burning out and my sense of identity as well. I'm sure a lot has happened for you during that time because of the vastness of who is a spark and how everyone who has the spark here is affected by the targeting, the compression systems, very subtle layers of handling influence, and also not so subtle. You have the frontal, overt layers, and you have the much more deep and undercover subtle layers that sometimes take years to find out, and you can spend a lifetime not finding them. There is just a lot going on for us, I think, a lot for us to work through, a lot of survive every day, to be ready to keep resisting in spirit. Remember all that you did, you know, to be there today and to resist in spirit. All this operation on the micro level, but also on the macro level. And if you manage to resist, then it's something that can never be taken away. That resistance in spirit is a really beautiful thing. There is always something for us to be busy with here. Different project we are working on to find stability, equilibrium, a sense of well-being again, to bring it back to balance. And been busy with finding balance in other aspects of my life, or bringing them back to a sense of balance, because it's never really balanced. As you know, it is just balanced enough for you to be able to function in an efficient way. During that time, while I've been trying to bring these aspects back to balance, I took a needed break and looked at patterns and areas in my life that I have been in denial about. And these patterns are also what led me, the subconscious, unconscious patterns that I was running on, are also a great part of why I experienced a pretty intense burnout that forced me to look at things that I was refusing to look at, or old energies in the material world, for example, that I had been associated with and that do not really fit who I am and what I can hold in terms of energy. It was just too much for me to take care of on my own while running these programs. So I had to give up trying what I was trying to build because I realized that it was driving me to my own end and exhausting and draining my energy in a way that left me depleted and not feeling like myself anymore as well. Burnout is often linked to running on too many subconscious programs, trying to attend too many areas in one's life. And not protecting the energy enough, because of these covert energies that are in our lives are in fact having a deep impact that is very hidden from us until we find what it really does, and there is where the work is really needed.
And of course, I don't think you can spend your life hiding here. But you can certainly take time to recover and recharge and recenter, refocus, and realign your intentions with where you really want them to be, and not where the programs lead them to be, using all the subconscious, the triggering of programming, influence of other people, handlers in your life. It is easy to see when we think about some celebrities who have the spark and who are so derailed in what they offer. Of course, for example, beta sex kitten programming is a great example of that, because it's such a reduction and derailment of who we are here. And that is something that can be active in some years in the lives of some celebrities. But some celebrities also do spend time singing surface lyrics and surface pop or things like that, that is really not deep. And it is such a shame and such a loss when you can feel that the being is much vaster, that the being has so much depth, and what is left for this being to express. Well, I find that in celebrities, but I find that in my own life or everywhere I look around. These limitations. So I think it's a constant work to be able to express deeper aspects, and sometimes it's good to have a long break in order to come back stronger, instead of staying on the front line half effective, or worse, corrupted in intentions, in frequency, or not clear, not really having a strong direction. And I think there is a time that it's okay to retrieve and take that time for a deeper sense of integration than would be possible by continuous exposure. I mean, we are always exposed to some frequencies here. Just in your daytime realities, you have this influence, and it also includes all the entanglement that are active in our lives: family, work, entourage, friends, government influences, matrix influences, the targeting, and all of that. We are always confronted to some of these, and you can certainly reduce your exposure by walking away from some associations, just not engaging anymore. And therefore limiting how the computer systems and the targeting can reach you. These are steps that are necessary, because no matter how strong each of us can be here, the triggering of programming is really something deep that can derail your life to a great extent. And there is a time when you need to be out of these triggering influences if you want to be more aligned with who you really are. Because no matter if you know they are harmful influences, if you feel that they are happening, if you're conscious about that, they are really deep unconscious aspects that are being triggered by the torture. That the torture cannot go on forever, because it's a difficult state to stay conscious and present to the fuller extent that one can be. And if the torture is ongoing for weeks and months, then it is triggering a deeper mess with coping mechanism. Addiction can start to settle back in, and just it can affect your desire to want to be here. Because it is challenging to want to be here while undergoing deep torture aspects. And so that's, I think, what I've been doing, was to take care of myself after going through rough operations that impacted my mental health, my sense of identity, even my sense of purpose here, which has generally been strong throughout my life, but which I had a trouble to connect with. And each of us has to know what's the right move for us, what to do with our energy, where to refocus, how to go on in this complex realm. And that is why fame is deeply entangled with this matrix system, and such a hard thing to go through for each of the being who has gone through extreme levels of fame and has been fractured even deeper as a result. Because this exposure, I think there is only so much you can take as a being in terms of being exposed to these triggering influences, triggering of programming, attacks. And fame is a thing that is programmed to look a certain way, but that on a deeper level, something else is happening that is so challenging to go through that I don't know if it would ever be seen to want that. Our human life here is being shortened by the inversion at play here. And time is needed to understand programming and having space to notice where our lives is unreal. And 10 years go so fast. Decade after decade. Programming can consume our time, our energy, our focus. Taking our lives itself out of our own hands. That is sure challenging to live our lives in a realm where mind control is prevalent and mind controlling influence are so extreme. But every understanding is precious and so rewarding and so worth the fight. And that is one of the only true things that we take with us wherever we go, here and after.